So again, welcome everyone. My name is Cesar Cervantes. I'm one of the academic advisors, the senior academic advisor, as well as the outreach coordinator. The majors that I advise are biology, last names N through Z, as well as chemistry. So again, it's nice to meet everyone again. I see some familiar names, and I'll hand it off to Dahlia so she can introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're happy to have you here today and excited to answer your questions through today's webinar. I'm one of the academic advisors on the team for pre-biology, marine biology, and physics. And I'll hand it over to Shannon.
Thank you, Dahlia. Thank you, Cesar. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. We're happy to share some information to kind of help you get a sense of what's coming up in just, for some of us, it's still a few weeks away, but we want to make sure that you got some good information today. I will continue to see if we can enable captions. I'm sorry that we're not seeing how to do that right at this moment, but as Cesar mentioned, we will post this video in about a week, and it will include captions there as well. And then I will also take down the name of the person who made this request so that I could maybe also outreach to you later as well. Welcome, everyone, and thank you.
Awesome. So can we go to the next slide, please? So yeah, so this is going to be our registration and kickoff for our upcoming SOAR registration, as well as your SOAR sort of dates and workshops. But a little bit of housekeeping, just an FYI for everyone. First, you'll see that your video and microphone are disabled, just the nature of just how the webinars are, because if you don't, you get a ton of questions. That's why we have the Q&A feature. So if you do have a question, the bottom of your Zoom, there is a Q&A feature. Try not to raise your hand because we don't want to keep stopping to answer questions. We'll use that feature. So if you have a question, go ahead and drop it in there. We'll prioritize questions that are related to the topic. So the topic today is going to be what is going to be happening at SOAR, what's going to be happening for my registration, how do I read my course recommendations when I do get them, things like that. So if it's not related to that, try to keep it semi-related to that, and we'll prioritize the ones that are more focused with our workshop today. We are going to be having a recording of this info session, and it will be available later next week on our CNSM Advising website. So if you don't have access to that, just type in CNSM Advising, and you should be able to find it as one of the first or the top links on your web page. The other thing, please regularly check your email, your primary email address for CSULB. For most of you, you'll want to start getting away from your personal email. So I know for some of you, you use that for actually in registering and applying to Cal State Long Beach. But now you want to check. Also, you want to check your personal email to an extent, but you want to start making it a habit of checking your CNSM, CSULB, or your CSULB email. That's where you'll get most of our information. You'll get information from your professors, from the university. So that should be your number one. Hey, I should check this every single day leading up to my SOAR workshop. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so what are we going to cover today? So what we're going to cover is what steps you should be taking before you actually get to your SOAR date. What's actually going to happen during your SOAR advisement and registration day. After you finish that, what are some steps that you can take, some resources that can help you get better prepared for that first day of the fall semester? And then we'll finish it off with a Q&A at the end. Okay, so before SOAR, so one of the biggest things, one of the most important things that we stress is your college credit. So this has a July 15th deadline. So please transfer in any AP, IB, A-level credit, dual enrollment credit, or other college credit works. Please send those official transcripts. One thing that I will stress is don't assume your high school, your community college, that someone other than yourself sent these transcripts to CSULB. So if you're unsure, I would highly recommend that you check out Enrollment Services. If someone can drop that chat or their website in the chat, that would be helpful. But you want to check with Enrollment Services at Cal State Long Beach just to make sure, hey, is all my AP credit in? Because again, like I said, don't assume that someone sent it on your behalf. They might have told you, I did that mistake when I was in my undergrad where I assumed someone was going to send some of this AP information. They didn't end up sending it. So you don't want to miss out on that credit. And you just want to do your due diligence of, do I have all the credits, all the units that I've worked for so hard during my high school time? And am I bringing them into CSULB? Because it could affect some of your placements and some of your credits and some of your classes. So definitely important to make sure that you bring that in. And again, keyword is official transcripts. It's not going to be unofficial transcripts that you just print, has to be official transcripts. Your SOAR survey. So this is due. So this, if you haven't done it already, we highly encourage you to please do it, because this very much determines a good amount of your fall 2025 courses, because it gives us more information other than just basically your academics. Your academics paints one picture, but that SOAR survey paints another picture, in that it tells us, how far are you commuting? Are you living on campus? Are you living off campus? How many hours are you working? Do you have to take care of siblings? Do you have other responsibilities? Things like that. So those second things are the other things that we use to sort of build your schedule, because your academics tells us one picture, sort of your own personal life also tells us another picture, and then that ultimately builds us your fall schedule. The other thing, your registration and advising course on Canvas. So if you have not checked your Canvas, please go ahead and do so, because this is basically the way that your professors are going to contact you about classes. So it's a good habit to check this every single day, and you'll see that you have a CNSM course for you that you have to do. So the way to find it is you log into your single sign-on or your SSO and select the Canvas checklist. So the little box. From there, you just go ahead and select SOAR Advising, CNSM first time student, first year, and then fall 2025. So this is due before your SOAR date. So if your SOAR date is on July 30th, make sure it gets done before then. If it's August 12th, make sure it gets done before August 12th. Just make sure it gets done prior to your SOAR date. Can we go to the next slide? All right. So why this survey is important. So like I mentioned, it helps us paint a better picture of sort of the type of student that you are, because again, like I said, your academics are one thing. You could be a straight A student in high school and everything was going, your schedule was great. Then you come to college and, hey, I need to work, and it's something that this is the first time that I'm working, or there was something going on with my family, or I don't have a car, reliable transportation. These things will help us build your schedule, because if you tell us, hey, I work 40 hours a week and I don't have a car, then that may tell us, hey, this student might be better off with 12 units instead of 15 or 16. So we always try to make sure that we build a schedule with you in mind. So that's why we want to make sure that this survey is there, so it can give us a better picture. How long does it take? Very short survey, should only take around like 15 minutes. So nothing that's too time consuming. When must it be completed? So it'll have a deadline on the survey, but we need it by Sunday, July 13th or sooner. So right now, after you finish with this webinar, go ahead and take it if you have not done so already. Again, it'll take you like 15 minutes, and then you're done with it. And then that'll better help us give you your schedule for this upcoming semester. All right, so then that Canvas course. So again, for folks that have not seen this, go ahead and go into your Canvas and find that appropriate course. But why this course is necessary. So right now, as first year students, you probably have a ton of questions regarding Cal State Long Beach, College of Natural Science and Mathematics, registration, what are my pre-major classes, how many units do I need to take? And that's completely normal and expected. Our campus is very, very large. There's a ton of policies, there's a ton of things to memorize. But the thing is, we don't want you to memorize all of them. We don't expect you to do so. So this Canvas shell is there to really give you that information whenever you need. If you ever have a question like, how many units do I need to register for every semester? It's going to be right there. What are my pre-major classes that I need to pass in order to declare my major fully? It's all there. So that's what this Canvas course is designed for. It'll give you basically all the key information that you need for your first semester to make sure that, hey, I know everything and I'm as best prepared as I can before I come to SOAR and before I come to my first day of classes. So it only takes around 20 minutes or so. So again, very low time commitment, but it is something that's going to be very, very helpful. And it's something that you can definitely access throughout your time not just as your first semester, but it's something that'll stay with you even as you're in your second year, third year, fourth year, up until graduation. So think of it as a place where if I have a question, let me start here. And if I still have further questions, let me ask an advisor, let me go to drop-in advising, things like that. Make sure, again, like I said, you complete it prior to your SOAR orientation date. So again, if it's July 30th, make sure you complete it before then. And then just so folks have an idea, our CNSM dates for when our SOAR registration and workshops are going to be between July 30th and August 13th. So anticipate being on campus at CSULB at some point during those times. All right, so for SOAR, so for your actual date, the days here, you're getting ready to attend your SOAR date. What should you bring to that? So one thing that you definitely want to bring is a laptop or tablet. Please let us know via email or the day of if you need a laptop or tablet, because again, we're going to be using this to register you for your classes in the afternoon. So it's important that you bring something, and please also bring a charger. We don't want you to just bring a laptop and then just say, oh, I used it and it's out of power, you know, in the afternoon, because it is something that we're going to be using throughout that registration period. So make sure you have it for note taking, for whatever you need. So just make sure you have one of those items. And again, if you don't have a laptop or a tablet, phone is generally not preferred just because of the functionality and how unique some of those web pages load. So please let us know if I need a laptop, if I need a tablet. Email us or let us know the day of your registration date. Like, hey, I need a laptop. Can I borrow one? We'll have something for you, so it's not an issue. So don't feel stressed if you don't have one. But if you do have one, bring it along with this charger. Wear comfortable clothing. I don't know if how many of you are out of state or not in Southern California, but right now it's very, very hot. So make sure that you're bringing good shoes for walking. Our campus is very, very large. As an upper campus, a lower campus, so you'll be walking quite a lot. So make sure that you have shoes that are comfortable for walking. If you prefer, bring a light jacket or sweater, especially to protect yourself from the sun. You will be outside and inside during SOAR, so it might be cold in the morning or chilly in the morning, and then it might warm up during the day. Bring a water bottle, SPF sunscreen, sunglasses, things like that, just to protect yourself from the sun. Please also bring your CNSM course recommendations. We will be sending these out in around a week and a half. So these we'll go over them in a little bit, but basically these recommendations will be your fall schedule that'll be your fall schedule. So either an electronic version that you have in your email or something that you printed out, whatever works for you is fine. And then if you have any copies of transcripts, AP, IB, A-level, CLEP courses, college level courses, dual enrollment, anything like that, please bring it. Again, either an electronic version or a paper version. That way we can see that and just sort of check it off like, hey, this student does have AP credit or this student does have dual enrollment credit. They no longer need to take this class or requirement. So that'll be definitely helpful for us as advisors to better place you into your fall schedule. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so now an actual sort of more detailed breakdown of what to expect during your SOAR advisement and registration. So in the morning, you're basically be working with the SOAR team to give you an overview of the campus, what CSULB offers in terms of resources, and a ton of just information about Cal State Long Beach. So that's going to be in the morning from 8:30 to 1 p.m. You're going to have a 30-minute lunch break. After that, you will be escorted to the Hall of Science 102, which is where your advising and registration will begin. So that's when you'll meet with us, the advisors, as well as the peer advisors. And then that's when we'll take you through Hall of Science into room 102. And then that's when we'll begin a brief presentation. And then after that, we'll go into the actual registration process. So that day is when you'll be registering for your classes. So just keep that in mind, that you have everything that I mentioned earlier. Again, you'll be being held by academic advisors as well as peer advisors. We'll also have some snacks and refreshments just for folks to have there. Around 2:30 is when we'll actually be registering for your classes. So what you're going to be registering for is the exact things that are going to be on your course recommendations. Again, if you have specific questions, there'll be advisors and peer advisors there to answer them. But every student should be registering for every class that's on their course recommendations. Again, these are recommendations that we work through as advisors to make sure, hey, does it meet all your requirements? Is it something that the student actually needs? So we go through every individual student and make sure, hey, they're in the correct and personalized schedule for them. So your peer advisors and academic advisors will be there for support and guidance and any questions that you may have. At around 3:30 is when we'll start wrapping up, and we'll also have a survey asking like, hey, how was this experience? How can we make it better for you? Things like that. And then after that, you're done. You're fully registered for the semester. And then now you're just looking forward to when classes actually start in the fall semester. Okay, so a couple of things to consider when you're registering for your classes. So one thing that you want to make sure is you understand essentially how much of a time commitment being a CNSM student is. So it can be drastically different in terms of your study habits from high school to college. So in high school, and I know speaking for myself, I could definitely get away with, hey, I just look at the material, I just review it in class, I'm ready, and then I do the homework, and then I'm ready for an exam and I ace it. In college is very much different because you really need that time to sit with the material to really grasp it. And what we mean by this is that usually one unit usually refers to 3 to 4 hours of academic work per week. So think of it if you're taking a 3-unit class, which is typical of most classes at Cal State Long Beach, you're usually studying around 9 to 12 hours per class. So imagine that if you sort of spread that out over, 4 classes that you're taking, it can be anywhere between like 18 to 24 units or 24 hours that you're actually studying for that class per week. And again, if you're taking some of these higher unit classes, so let's say your chemistry courses, that's just going to be more time commitment per class. Usually, students average between 12 to 15 units during their first semester. So if you land anywhere between the 12 and 15 units, that's the sweet spot that we want you in. 12 units equals full-time. So for those folks that are receiving financial aid, just keep 12 units in mind. Like, hey, I need to be registered for 12 units every semester in order to receive my full financial aid award. Anything less, you'll get less financial aid award. So just make sure you fall between that 12 and 15 units. Other things are time commitments and considerations. So what is your commute to Cal State Long Beach? Are you dorming on campus? How far are you away from? Are you living out in LA where, yes, it's 20 miles, but the traffic makes it an hour plus? So things to consider as you're thinking about my schedule. So for some of you, your tendency might be, hey, I want to take as much units as I can. But you also have to keep in mind, like, what are those considerations that you have to keep in mind? Like, hey, maybe you didn't have a commute going to high school, but you'll more than likely have a commute, commuting to college. Full-time students are recommended to work no more than 15 hours per week. So I know for myself, I had to work when I was in college. So we want to make sure, hey, this is a tough major, something that's doable, but you want to also make sure, hey, I'm balancing all my responsibilities as much as I can. And generally, we find that students that work around 15 to 20 hours per week perform a little bit better. Anything more does get into sort of murky waters. We're not saying it's impossible, but generally, for most students, 15 to 20 hours is that sweet spot in terms of working. Other obligations that you may have. You might have a sibling that you need to take to school every morning. So that means, hey, I can't do morning classes, or I have to do afternoon classes, or I have to take care of a sick relative. Whatever other obligations that you have, make sure you consider those into your schedule. You don't want to create a schedule that's very jam-packed and you only have an hour to get somewhere and you're sort of running around. Make sure you give yourself some breaks, not just for your academics, but for your, for eating, for yourself, for relaxing, studying, things like that. And then other things, are you planning on joining any student groups or clubs? During, I think, the second or third week, Cal State Long Beach does this thing called Club Rush, where you can see all the clubs on campus. So think about things like that, like how involved do I want to be in my first semester? Maybe I want to get more involved in my second semester once I have sort of my feet under me. So a lot of different things to consider that are individual to you, and definitely something that you want to think about, like when you're getting those course recommendations. So next slide, please. All right, so we keep speaking on these course recommendations, so we want to go a little bit more in depth on what these mean. So again, you'll be getting these course recommendations around a week and a half, maybe a little bit later, but definitely a couple of days before your actual SOAR date. So keep that in mind. But your course recommendations were designed specifically for you by an academic advisor on a number of things that information that we received from you. So first, then biggest is your requirements and courses for your major. So your major will not have any classes that you do not need. So that's something that we actively recommend. Test scores, so your SAT scores, ACT, AP, IB, CLEP. If any of those scores sound familiar, you want to make sure, hey, did I send them to CSULB? And again, remembering that thing that I mentioned earlier, don't assume that someone sent it for me, even if they told me. I want to do my due diligence. I want to talk to Enrollment Services, and I want to ask them, hey, is my credit in my student record? Any transfer credit, because I know a lot of you, dual enrollment is getting very, very popular. So that definitely counts as transfer credit. So make sure, hey, the class that I took as a sophomore, am I getting credit for it here at Cal State Long Beach? Placement scores. So your Alex Math, your chemistry, Alex, CPT, make sure that those are in to give us enough time to place you into the appropriate chemistry, math, English courses, things like that. And then any other additional information submitted from your advising survey. So your commute time, your work hours, your responsibilities, your obligations outside of school, how many units you actually want to take, because that's something that we ask you. We don't just want to place you in 16 units if you're like, I want to start off a little bit slower, but still meet all my requirements. And that's something that we can definitely do for you. So this is what your course recommendations are built off of. Can we go to the next slide, please? And this is what your actual course recommendation sheet is going to look like. So in an email, you'll get this PDF file. And the breakdown of how it follows is that top row. So that top is basically going to be your information. So here we can see that LB. So LB, the CSULB's mascot. You can see that all your information is there. LB is a bio student. You can see their student ID, and you can see who was the advisor that gave them, that basically completed those requirements. So for me, it would be CC. Once we go a little bit down towards the middle, you'll actually see the courses broken down on what you need to take. So you'll see course 1, course 2, course 3, so on and so on. And then in the next column, you'll see the actual course. So LB is a bio student, meaning they're taking survey of calculus, which is Math 119A. So in that first course, they're going to be registering for Math 119A. And then after that, you go to the next column and you see chemistry course, Chem 111A, Chem 111A lab. So don't get confused on some of these classes that have these labs. They're all grouped together. So you can see, even though there's a little line to it, it's still considered one course within that row. So don't get confused specifically on the labs. These labs just need to be taken with the lecture. The other thing that I want you to pay attention to is sort of the order that these classes are flowing in. You'll see that your calculus, your chemistry, your English classes, and then GEs, they're all going down in this order. And the reason we have it like this is we want you to register for your classes on the day of your registration from the top to the bottom. So meaning, if you were a student, I would tell you register for your Math 119A class first, then your chemistry class, your NSCI course, your English course, and then your GE. So you're basically just following it from the top to the bottom. And the reason for that is because your math is your priority. Chemistry is second priority, NSCI is third, English is fourth, your GE is the last priority. So don't go from the bottom to the top, because GE classes are plentiful. But your math classes, your chemistry courses, those are more, they have less seats available. So you want to make sure, hey, I'm starting off from the top to the bottom, and I'm registering for those classes in those order. A little bit more to the side with that, the purple box, you'll see how much the units for each class. And it corresponds to the row that the class is in. So Math 119 is a 3-unit course. Chemistry is a 5-unit course. NSCI 1 unit, English 3. Your GE courses are typically around 3 units. At the bottom of that, you'll see the total units that you're taking for that semester. So 15 units. And again, if we think back to sort of what was that sweet spot of my units, oh, it's 12 units to 15 units. Okay, as long as I fall within that sort of range, I'm okay, I'm good, I'm doing well. if I'm LB, I'm thinking, hey, but I also receive financial aid. Am I in at least 12 units? 15 units, awesome. Even if it's 12 units, anything 12 or above, you'll get your full financial aid. So in this instance, LB is on the right path. If LB comes in during their SOAR registration, LB will register for their math course first, then chemistry, and then just follow the path down. And they'll say, okay, I'm registered for 15 units. I'm already set for the fall semester. Now it's just about getting ready for the fall semester and going to my classes. So pretty straightforward, but the other important part that I want to note is that blue box. So you see that there's this giant empty box and it has some notes there. So this section will have notes from your advisor that worked on your schedule. It may tell you a number of things, really important things, such as, hey, you're reporting AP credit, but I don't see it in your record. Send it or bring it during your SOAR registration. Or they tell you, hey, you should be taking Math Alex because you took it once, you got a score of 72, but I think you could place into your calculus course, which would save you some time. Try and take Math Alex or any other number of things. But definitely make sure you're reading the whole thing. The notes section might be one of your most important places to look. So don't ignore it because it has a ton of useful information and we want you to get that information. So again, this is what your schedule will be looking like. So make sure that you go ahead and look at the whole thing. Okay, so what to expect during your SOAR orientation. So during your SOAR orientation, you'll be given a campus tour. So you'll be walked around campus telling you, hey, this is where you can find the financial aid department. This is where you can find basic needs. Basically a ton of information how to work your way around campus so you're not completely lost on your first day. You'll also be learning about campus life from other students. So the students that are actively giving you those tours, they're students themselves. So they know the campus. They've been here for maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years. So you're getting a presentation from those students. So if you have any questions like, hey, what's the best food spot on campus? Or what's the best place to hang out and relax or take an online class? Ask them and they can definitely be helpful and give you some information. You will also, I think the biggest piece is meeting your other students that are within your major. So the person right next to you, to the left, to the right of you, they're going to be within the same major. I definitely say it's a good idea, an opportunity to talk with them, exchange phone numbers, contact information. That way you have sort of like a buddy. But you'll be meeting other students from your major. You will be participating in group activities, either team building, team bonding, things like that. So make sure that you're open to all these different possibilities. And then you'll also have an opportunity to get your campus ID at the bookstore. And funny enough, the bookstore is directly in front of the Hall of Science, which is where you'll be registering for your classes. So if you're near that area, you'll see where the Hall of Science is. So next slide, please. So after your SOAR, so after you've gone to your workshop, after you've registered for your classes, what are the next steps that you should be doing? So the next steps that you should be doing is checking your financial aid. So make sure that you check your financial aid offer and details as well as dates to make sure, hey, is this a suitable package for me? Does it meet all my needs? If I need more money, does it mean I need to get another loan? Does my financial aid cover this? Does it cover that? So make sure you understand your financial aid package. And again, we unfortunately cannot answer questions regarding financial aid, but Dahlia put in the link there for the financial aid office that you can ask them because it's very personalized to you. We don't have any information regarding your finances, so you want to talk to financial aid advisor for that specific information. Same thing with your tuition and fees. For that, you want to check out not the financial aid office. There's another one. I'm forgetting what it's called, but I'm pretty sure Dolly is going to put it in the chat. But basically anything relating to tuition and fees, you can definitely find more information on how much you're going to be paying every semester. You can see a breakdown of that information. And then from there, you can determine, hey, do I need more financial aid? Does my financial aid cover it? Things like that. Student organizations and clubs, start looking at what you want to do to be involved on campus. There's a campus rec center. Check out, hey, I want to check it out. Is that something that we can do during my SOAR sort of tour? Ask the students that are giving the tour, like, hey, can we check it out? How much does it cost? Is it free? Hint, it's free. But there's a ton of clubs that are all on campus that you can definitely get involved in. So Feel free to search what you want based on your interest, career interest, whatever it is. There's definitely a club for students. Bob Murphy Access Center. So if you need accommodations either in the classroom, getting around campus, you want to contact the Bob Murphy Access Center, or BMAC for short. That way they can give you the accommodations to help you, be the best student that you can be on campus. It is also something that's your right. So definitely make sure, like, hey, if you feel you can't talk to someone, talk to us, and then we can definitely point you in the right direction. And then finally, planning for tutoring. So I know for some of you, this may seem like, hey, in high school, I was a straight A student, I got every concept. May be a lot different here because of how fast the pace is and sort of the expectation of what you should know already. But there's definitely no shame in tutoring, especially with these majors that you're going to be pursuing, because it is very, very difficult material. So in your maths, your science, your writing, whatever, topic that you're studying, you want to make sure that you're going in and you're getting tutoring as needed, or even better, you're going for tutoring even when you don't need it, just to reinforce and prepare you to be a better student. Some of our best, quote unquote, best students are constantly in our tutoring center getting that support because they realize, like, hey, it's not just for when I'm struggling, it's for any time that I need it. It's an open space, so definitely make sure that you're taking advantage of it and utilizing your tutoring services on campus. Next slide, please. Okay, so now that's the end of our presentation. So now we'll switch to our Q&A, and I think Dahlia has been busy at work answering some of our questions. Shannon is also answering some of our questions. So I see one that's here. How to plan tutoring specifically at CSULB. So I'll answer that one live, but while I do that, if folks have any questions regarding any of the sort of process of that SOAR date, let us know. The Q&A features at the bottom of your SOAR or of your Zoom webinar. Go ahead and use that. But for Nathan, how do you plan tutoring specifically at CSULB? So I don't know if Dolly put it in the chat, but we do have a tutoring basically website. So that website is located in our SAS Center. So in our SAS Center, that is the space that you folks will be visiting because that's where we'll have the snacks. You also just see that space. The great thing about that is that that's where our tutoring center is, and that's where the advisors, so myself, Shannon, Dahlia, that's where we're at as well. So for some reason you're like, hey, I need tutoring help, and then I have a question regarding whatever it is. You can just ask any of us, and then we'll be there to support you. But the SAS Center Tutoring Center, that website is going to link you to basically a schedule of all our tutors. It's not updated now because right now we're working with our tutors to basically see what subjects they're going to be tutoring in. But if you can think of pretty much any subject, they'll be tutoring for. So the best way I would say to utilize that is say, hey, I'm in Math 119A, which is my survey of calculus class. And I'm not sure because I don't know any of the tutors. I don't know them by name, but I need help with this class. There you can, it has a little box on the top, which acts as a filter. Just type in Math 119A or any other class that you need. It's your chemistry, your English, or not your English, your chemistry, your Math 119A, your Calculus 1. And then from there, it'll give you a list of the students that teach or that tutor in that subject. It'll give you the days that they're available and then the times that they're available. So then that way you can plan out, hey, if this student is available on Mondays, I also am available on Mondays, but I can only go from 2 to 3. Oh, great. They're there from 2 to 4. I'll come in from 2 to 3. You get your tutoring support. We'll have a front desk that tells you, hey, I'm planning on meeting with this student because they're available to help me. Oh, great. They'll walk you with them, and then from there, you'll get that tutoring support. So if you're ever confused, send us an email, but your best bet is to just walk into the SAS Center, ask someone for support, like, hey, I need help with Chemistry 111A. If there's a tutor available, you'll then be guided to that tutor, and then from there, they'll be able to help you. So ton of opportunities to get support. We also have a math lingering center. So if you're a math student, and especially if you're taking some of those higher level maths, we have a specific center for that. The SAS Center is more so for science courses, biology, your chemistry, things like that. Whereas the Lindgren Center is more for your math and even your physics. So ton of opportunities for you to pick from.
That's awesome advice, Caesar. I just wanted to answer one of the questions live here. The question asks, besides meeting classmates, going to class, bringing supplies, what other recommendations would you have for the first day of class? I think this is such an excellent question. I would say one step at a time. You mentioned supplies. Some of those supplies could include a tablet or laptop. Students use both devices, meaning some students will just use tablets, some students will use both, or a laptop. It's good to have those just so you can take notes. A lot of your classes will have asynchronous content, meaning part of the content will exist on Canvas. And so some of the ways that you'll be studying or keeping up with class or monitoring your grades or any of that stuff will be also posted on Canvas. So there's kind of this element of being in person on campus. So when you're in person and on campus, I would say, especially in that first week or so, just kind of, you're going to be experiencing so many things at once. Just take deep breaths. You can always come by the SAS Center. That's where we're going to be if you want to kind of see where your advisors are going to be, where your tutoring is going to be. If you're encountering questions that you can't really find answers to in those first couple of weeks, we're going to have drop-in hours. So we invite students to come by, say hello, ask those questions. So but other than that, I think you listed kind of all the important things you need during that first day and first week of classes. All right. So I see the next question here. Let me go ahead and read it. Would taking prerequisites for math or chem delay my path in graduating in 4 years, as I did not meet the requirements to get into Chem 102 and the higher math class placement? So I'm going to answer this in a couple of ways. Number one, for any students who are not sure what their placement in math and chemistry are going to be, we highly recommend that you take the Math Alex assessment. That is something that when you log into your CSULB My Apps, so you type in you go to your SSO, that's where you find Canvas, that's where you find Student Center, that's where you find your student email, all the things basically under My Apps. One of the things there, if you there's like a little search bar, you can start typing in math and it'll bring up Math Alex. And Math Alex is 100% free. And but it's only available for a really limited time just because we have to start looking at the scores that students get on this assessment so that we can help place students in the appropriate math level. So if you're at all uncertain of what your placement is, let's say you're not bringing in AP or IB or transfer courses, let's say you didn't take SATs, and so you're kind of like, I'm not really sure, I got up to a certain level of math in high school, but I'm not really sure where that's going to place me. Take the Math Alex assessment. And so let's say you take the Math Alex and you it's kind of like an okay score. Well, we're not going to place you down. You can only be placed up by taking Alex. So there's really it's like a no risk assessment. So you can take it. And for students who get a score of 60 to 79 on Math Alex, that will take them from coming in as a pre-algebra student to someone who's in pre-calculus. And then for students who take the Math Alex assessment and earn a score of 80, so 80 or higher, those students will be placed into Calculus 1 in their first semester. So in general, we just really recommend that everyone take it. It's free and it can help ensure that what your first class is at CSULB will be an accurate placement for where you are right now. And no matter where you place, if it's Math 112A, if it's Math 113, if it's Calculus 1, which could either be Math 119A or Math 122, wherever you place, what's most important is that you're placed at the level where you can succeed. So we don't want to underplace you, meaning you're taking a course that you already have mastered or already really know the material. And we also don't want to put you in a course that's way too ahead of what you've already learned. We want to make sure that we put you just right in the just right place for you so you can be successful because these courses are building a strong foundation for you. So that's one half of my long-winded answer to your question. The other half is, there are many students who will start in Math 112A, or they'll start in pre-calculus, which is Math 113. Depending on your major, it may or may not impact the number of years it takes to get to graduation. And one of the things that we do as advisors is we sit down with students and we look at your plan and we kind of scope it out to see, is it possible to take any of your coursework over the summer at a community college? Is it possible, like depending on your major, for you to, community college is like one of the ways that a lot of students will sort of, scoop up a few classes to kind of maybe move up their graduation date and things like that. So long story short, we'll meet with you. Each student here is an individual, and we'll work out what your plan will be. Okay. So I will answer this one live as well. If someone is a biochemistry major, do they have to take the Chem ALEX assessment? So biochem majors do take chemistry, but not everyone needs to take the Chem ALEX. So just to try and be clear, because I know they kind of sound similar, but so there's Math ALEX, and that's what you can find on your single sign-on. So my CSULB, my apps. For that one, literally, I want everyone to take it, just to be sure that your placement is exactly what it should be for you. For Chem ALEX, it really depends. And so part of the reason we hesitate just recommending everyone take the Chem ALEX placement is that it does cost money. I can't remember off the top, but I want to say it's like $20 or $30 for that assessment. And not everyone, in fact, probably most people don't need to take it, but everyone should take the Math ALEX. So Math ALEX Math ALEX, your assessment there can help both determine what your first semester math class can be, but it can also help determine what chemistry you should be placed into. So just that alone can be strongly helpful for both your math placement and your chemistry placement. For students who place into, and colleagues, please correct me if I'm wrong here, but for students who maybe place into Math 113, which is pre-calculus, your chemistry placement could either kind of go towards kind of an intro to chemistry course, which is Chem 102, or depending on what chemistry experience you've already had, could potentially place you into Chem 111A in the fall. So students who are placed into pre-calculus and who took AP Chem and got a 2 or greater would then be placed at least into the first semester of general chemistry. That would also be true of students who earned A's and B's in chemistry coursework that they took in high school. If you kind of don't check either one of those boxes, meaning you really didn't have a lot of chem in high school, or maybe your grades in chem were less than a B, and you didn't take any AP Chem or IB or anything along those lines, then it might be worthwhile to take the chemistry ALEX placement to see if you can place any higher. These are great questions, everyone. While we're waiting to see if any other questions come through, first off, I want to thank Caesar and Dahlia for their great work here today and great presentation and all the things behind the scenes. I also want to thank all of you out there in the audience for being here today and for asking excellent questions. We're really looking forward to seeing you soon, but I see a few more questions have come through, so let's see about those. Okay. Okay, so I'll take the first question and answer it live. It says, it starts with but, so I'm just going to read it out and see if I want to make sure that it makes sense to me. But you don't have to take the math ALEX if you got a 3 or higher on AP Calc AB or BC exam. That is correct. So if you got a 3 or greater in AP Calc AB, BC, or the pre-calc AP, so a score of 3 or higher, then you will have either satisfied or placed into Calculus 1. So that means that for a student who placed 3 or higher in pre-calc, that you would be automatically placed into Calculus 1 in your first semester. For AP Calc AB or BC, that a 3, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, folks, a 3 or greater will at least take care of the Calculus 1 requirement. Higher scores, exam scores in those might even place you into a higher level of calculus than that. So long story short, the most that Math ALEX can do is place you either from starting in algebra into pre-calculus or moving you from pre-calculus into Calculus 1 in your first semester. It cannot place you out of calculus. It will only place you into a certain level of math that's either pre-calculus or calculus. Okay. Okay, so the question is, if I am placed into pre-calculus and Chem 102, which may cause me to be behind in my courses, is there a solution to this so that it won't delay my graduation? So one thing we like to let students know is that it is not, everyone's on a different path. There are some students that will come in and complete in 4 years. However, most students will come in and complete in 4.5 or even 5 years. And that can be for a variety of reasons. For some students, maybe it's because they do need more time to work through their pre-calculus, to work through their chemistry, which you want to have that time. You want to have that time to really learn that material so you can continue to move forward. For some students, they may find that they want to maybe take on a minor, maybe they get involved in certain research. Maybe they're taking, 12 units a semester instead of 15 units a semester. So it's going to take them a few more semesters to get through. There's many different ways to tackle your bachelor's degree. And not every student, in fact, most students throughout the college and throughout the university are not going to complete in 4 years. And so for some students that come in, they're like, I'm on a mission, I'm going to complete in 4 years, boom, 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 boom. Some students are able to do that. And I'm not saying that that's impossible or anything like that. But what I'm saying is that as a math student or as a science student, you're taking very challenging courses that are sequential. Meaning that if you are, let's use biochemistry as an example. If you're a biochemistry student, you need to be taking Calculus 1, Calculus 2. You need to be taking general chemistry for a year. You'll be taking OChem. You'll also be taking some bio courses. And these courses happen in a certain sequence. And so what's important is to give yourself the time, no matter where you place in math and chemistry in your first semester, to really learn that material. So as you move each semester into your next level of classes, that you're fully prepared. So anyone who's concerned, like I'm behind already, you're not behind already. And please make sure that you meet with your advisor so you can kind of get a grand look at your whole plan in detail. And we're always open to any of those discussions about your plan and how to best tackle it.
Can I just add to that, Shannon? One thing I will say is do not be afraid of more time. I know that that's counterproductive to what you've been hearing, to what you've been told, to what your parents, high school friends are doing, because I think one of the biggest hurdles is once you realize that you have to go at your own pace, then that's when the major becomes less challenging. I think the issue is students put this so much pressure on themselves to compete with themselves that they then either take more units than maybe they were ready for, because they're like, I want to complete it in 4 years. 4 years is my time. That it then becomes, it hurts them more than it helps them. And then you're playing catch up. So I would say don't be afraid of it, because your time is, the pace that you go at is the best pace. It could be 4 years, it could be 4.5, it could be 5, but not everyone has the luxury to do 4. If I could have done 4, if I could have done whatever it is, if anyone could have done 4, I'm sure they would have done it. But life happens, things happen. I think you have to give yourself that grace to be like, it's my first semester, let me see how it goes. And then if I do want to do more, hey, there's summer classes. I can take more units in the spring. I would say this semester really just experience college first and then see how it goes.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I agree 100%. So I see a question that asks, is freshman year the only time available to take Chem 111A plus lab? So just to clarify for the whole audience, Chem 111A is the first semester of your general chemistry. Many students, if you're in bio, if you're in chemistry, if you're in biochem, and that's it, right, guys? Oh, and then earth sciences, you'll be taking a year of general chemistry. And so in your first semester of general chemistry, you're taking Chem 111A. And Chem 111A has the lab incorporated into, so when you register, all components will be there and you'll register for them all at once. And then the second semester, you'll take Chem 111B. So that'll be the other half of your first year of general chemistry. And so the question asks, is that the only time available to take Chem 111A? Well, if you place into Chem 111A in your first semester, you should immediately take it because that's after general chemistry, most students will move on to organic chemistry, or the next level that they need for their particular major. And general chemistry is like the foundation for a lot of the other work that you'll do later on. So if you're placed into it, you're going to want to start taking it right away. For students who are placed into Chem 102, you'll take that for one semester. And then the following semester, upon successful completion of that course, then you'll move into Chem 111A that next semester. So I'm getting several questions from students saying that they are not able to sign up for SOAR. What I want, and I'll go ahead and put this in the chat. Let's see. So I would encourage everyone who is having trouble signing up for SOAR to call them. So SOAR contact information. Okay, so right now I'm putting in the chat. It's you've probably already seen the SOAR website, but this part of the SOAR website, if you look on the right-hand side, it'll have a phone number. It'll have several different ways that you can contact them. I would go ahead and call them. Go ahead and get them on the phone and just let them know, hey, I'm trying to sign up for SOAR. Can you help me finish up that process? So let's see. Okay. So Caesar, you're muted.
Okay. So Nathan, so for those are those are exams that you took in high school that help determine your placement in terms of writing and math. Generally, we take the highest score. So I wouldn't worry too much about these, because at this point, you can't retake them. You took them in high school, you can't change them. So instead of looking at these, think about, hey, what's my current placement for English? Most students will probably be placed into a Composition 2 course. If not, you would be told otherwise. And then if you're worried about your math, that's where the Math Alex comes in. So I wouldn't worry about these exams because, again, you can't change them now. You took them in high school. So just look at, can I take the Math Alex, and do I know what my what my English placement is? There is no English placement exam, unfortunately. So you're pretty much just, that's your English placement, but the math you can change.
So there's a question that says, is someone able to take both a bachelor's and a master's degree? There are some options there. What I'm going to do is not really an area of our expertise, but there is a lot of great information out there. So I wanted to go ahead and provide you a link so you could do a little bit more exploration. It's called Beach Edge, which lists like combined undergraduate and master's degrees, master degree programs.
While you do that, Shen, I think we're coming up on our end time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to say thank you, everyone, for being here with us. Again, if you still have questions, feel free to email our CNSM advising email. We'll respond to you there. Again, if you need a laptop, a device, a tablet, again, it's only going to be loaned for the day, so it's not like a permanent thing, unfortunately. If we could, we would, but we do not have the funds for that. So you're pretty much just going to be getting it for that registration day. If you are in need of one, please send us an email with, hey, I need a laptop or a tablet with your name and your student ID. That way we can track it and get ready for that. So again, your name, your student ID, and what device you need. Or just let us know the day of. So if we have that, then we can definitely get you one. But other than that, thank you all for being here. Again, if you have any questions, email our CNSM advising email, and then we can get back to you. And then I'll leave it to Shannon or Dahlia to say anything else.
Yes, I want to just echo that. Thanks again to my colleagues, Cesar Cervantes and Dalia Valle, for putting together this presentation today and answering questions and doing such a great job. We really want to thank all of you for being here, for bringing your questions. We're really excited to meet you in just a few weeks from now and help you get registered. Let me just underline what Cesar's been sharing with you, which is if you're able to bring a laptop or a tablet, that can be very helpful. Just that way you can start bookmarking things on your own personal computer or tablet and kind of have some of that information sort of locked in. But if you don't have it, that's okay. Just let us know. You can send us an email, which is in the chat right now, to let us know if you're not able to bring those items, and we'll have something for you to use on that day. We will be reaching out to you between now and your SOAR date with your course recommendations and instructions. So you'll have that opportunity to kind of see what you've been recommended and get a chance to kind of get used to that. And then if you have any questions about your recommendations, you'll be able to ask us that at SOAR. Let me hand it over to Dahlia as well.
Hi, everyone. So great questions. As everyone mentioned, we'll be creating your recommendations based on your unique history, your academics. So if any questions come along, please email us at CNSM Advising. And we look forward to meeting you and working with you and registering you for classes at your SOAR date.
Awesome. All right. Well, oh, there's, I think, one more question here. Are we to return the resources given to us at SOAR? So we will have laptops for you to use while you're in the room where we're getting registered in the lecture hall that we'll be in. And then at the end of that, we will be collecting all of those laptops that we've loaned out to students that day. Okay, so I'm going to throw the AP info in the chat real quick so the student can kind of review that. Okay. All right, so AP, IB, all that good stuff. You will be able to find that right here. You go. You can also find that on a lot of other on the website for incoming students too. All right, and so that's going to be the last question we're going to answer today. Again, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you soon, and we will have a copy of this recording. We'll have a copy of this recording up along with captions next week, and we'll go ahead and send out a reminder to everyone once that is posted so you can review it there as well. All right. Oh, thank you, Nathan. Thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for that feedback. We really appreciate it. Okay, take care, everyone. Go Beach.